We interrupt this regularly scheduled programming to have a Black Excellence moment. Tracy Ellis Ross, the only shampoo that I would shampoo my hair with to go to Michael B. Jordan's birthday. Excuse me. We interrupt this regularly scheduled programming to have a Black Excellence moment. Tracy Ellis Ross, the only shampoo that I would shampoo my hair with to go to Michael B. Jordan's birthday. Excuse me. We interrupt this regularly scheduled
Disgusting.
programming to have a Black Excellence moment. Tracy Ellis Ross, the only shampoo that I would shampoo my hair with to go to Michael B. Jordan's birthday.
Michael B. Jordan's birthday. There he is, Diddy, on tape, admitting one of the names who was on the list. But today we have a huge update as Kamala Harris is confirmed to be on the Diddy list, as well as multiple other high-profile celebrities, Mike Myers, Michelle Williams, one of them and the other, both in a very big way playing a role in this case as they're selecting jurors and asking them about these people. We are getting confirmation. We also have a list, finally, for the first time, that is being confirmed. These people are about to go to prison. Kamala Harris is done. It is over. Her political ambitions and career at this point, because of her affiliation and relation to Diddy, that's probably why she wanted to become president so badly. She wanted to protect herself from this. But at last, we are in a place where we're going to be able to finally have justice. So many women, so many girls who are trafficked, boys, men as well. Justice is finally almost here, as the Diddy list is just the tip of the iceberg. And we need the Trump administration full force ahead, arresting people. And not just that, but these people need to be charged with the most heinous crimes that they have committed. No one is allowed to get free. Doesn't matter how much money you have. Doesn't matter what your background is. If you're involved in this, you need consequences. Let's go ahead and go to the intro. And when we come back, this is one of the biggest shows that we have done in a very long time.
Take two. Cut.
Take two.
I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
All right, follow me with this.
But they've been using their power to obstruct and stop justice from taking place.
You want to pray us out?
I do.
We'll pray for Tina. And let's have conversations about what truth is.
The judge in this case, Aaron Submarine, which is what I call him. His real name is Submarinian or something like that. He's an Indian immigrant, both of his parents from India, not even American, and he's in charge of one of the most important cases in American history. I find that to be extremely offensive, that we're not even having someone who is representing America at the helm of this. But regardless, he has a very important job to do. Right now, the jurors are being selected. There are 46 people who are being selected out of a much larger pool. Those people are being asked about the names that are on the Diddy list. Do they know them? Do they have any relation? There's the video of him right there. You can see that is him walking in. He's not even taking it seriously. One of the biggest cases in American history. So many victims, American victims, for the most part. And there he is walking in wearing a backpack, listening to music like it's just another day of college for this guy. A walking meme. And that does not give me hope. That does not make me feel good about this. He could be a plant. He could have been installed in order to have these charges be railroaded in the opposite direction so nobody gets exposed. Diddy's going to take the fall for it. But that's not even close to the full pie. We need to have every single person involved who orchestrated it, who took advantage of girls, who took advantage of women, all of them need to be held responsible immediately. And if that doesn't happen, then this is a failed case. Pure and simple. So his background is he went to law school, he did all the normal stuff, came here, shouldn't have even been a citizen, only was able to take advantage of the unfair birthright laws. So this guy shouldn't even be an American. And yet here he is in charge of this. They're going to go to 12 jurors on Friday. That is what is happening now. The lawyers are in the proceedings. They're picking the jurors. They're going to try to pick people that are going to be favorable to Diddy to the degree they can. But then the other side also gets to say, and they're going to try to pick people who are against Diddy. So it's going to be interesting to see who the jurors actually are and who gets picked. There is the B-roll that we have, by the way, of Aaron Submarine. Mr. Submarine, and by the way, if he actually does a good job on this, which I have no confidence in, unfortunately, then I will learn how to pronounce his full name, Submarinian or whatever it is, and I will use it. But for now, he's Submarine until he's able to float to the surface and do something good. Okay, Mr. Submarine, you need right now to take this case as seriously as can possibly be. You should be walking into the courtroom, paying attention to the details, not acting like you're going to a college course. You shouldn't even really have any public fear whatsoever, because if he starts doing a good job on this, they could end up taking his life. So that's the level of seriousness that this needs to be taken with. And the jurors selected are not going to have access to most of the information. They're going to pick them in large part people who don't have a ton of exposure to the media and to these people, unless somehow Diddy's law team is able to do a fantastic job and get a bunch of people who are going to be on his side. Then it's going to be very tough. In this case, he's being charged with multiple very serious crimes. One of the ones that people don't even know about is arson. Diddy is believed to have played a role in setting fires to multiple places in order to A, hide evidence, and B, try to take out the element of surprise when it comes to some of these parties. So there's a lot of very serious stuff in here: kidnapping, extortion, all of these charges. It's going to be very difficult for him to avoid them. And the real thing we're looking at here is how many of the people who participated in the parties are going to be brought in. Having him go to prison is nothing. That is barely the tip of the iceberg of what we need to see from this case. And so as we continue to go through it, we actually have a picture. This is the Diddy list right here, one of the Diddy lists. There's multiple of them, and we're actually getting some cross confirmation between this and what is happening with the Diddy list as a whole. So you can see, if you go through these names, there's a lot of names on there, very high profile celebrities. We already have cross-reference to Kid Cudi and to Mike Myers, to Michelle Williams, even Kanye West, who I'm actually, and that shows you I'm being unbiased here, because some of the things Kanye West does, I'm a fan of. I like how he pushes boundaries. I like how Kanye West is always willing to say things that are offensive, even if he's going to get in trouble for it. So there's lots of things I really like about Kanye West, and the things I don't like about Kanye West are not enough for me to not mention his name here. He deserves to get mentioned. He was potentially on the list, and so we have to call him out, period. All of these people, Michael B. Jordan, maybe actually the second biggest name after Kanye West. Everyone knows him from Black Panther and a lot of other work that he's done throughout his career, one of the most famous actors in the world. And he's believed to have participated potentially with underage girls based on the confirmation of the Diddy list. So this is huge stuff. It's way bigger than what we've seen so far with the Epstein list. Pam Bondi has not done a good job whatsoever when it comes to going after the Epstein list. And I think that's a shame, because you can clearly see, based on everything that's happening with the Diddy list, that there's a lot more that can be done. So as the jurors get selected on Friday, it was supposed to be Wednesday, they filed for an extension. They could file for another extension. They're trying to push it out. That's going to be who determines what this sentence is. Is he going to be spending the rest of his life in prison? Most likely. And these jurors will also have some role in determining which evidence is brought forward. How many of the people involved in this case are allowed to be exposed in this? How many people are going to be brought in? How many more trials will we see? And if there's anything less than dozens of trials from all of these people who were involved, then we are being failed as people. We are being failed by the system. And that means they're not truly trying to get the right thing here. Now, I want to show you this clip, by the way. So just to understand how involved Diddy is in the political sphere, take a look at this clip of Obama and Diddy diddling. We'll use that as the verb there. Watch this.
It's my birthday party, and we got the first black president in this motherfucker. Y'all know what the fuck we about.
Play that a couple times. I want people to keep saying this. So let's listen to what he says. We got the first what? How enthusiastic is he to be having a relationship with Obama? Play it one more time.
It's my birthday party, and we got the first black president in this motherfucker.
Keep it on a loop. I want this to play a couple of times. Keep it on a loop for a second.
Y'all know what the fuck we about. It's my birthday party, and we got the first black president in this motherfucker.
One more time. Keep it going. Everyone needs to see this. It's his birthday party. Look at all the people there. Look at how happy they are. And we know now. Okay, that's I think that's enough now. So we know now that those people who were at the party, many of the people in the audience, many of the people backstage were being trafficked. We now know that. And there he is, Obama, who's participating in it, having fun at the party. Few people have even seen that clip before. And that shows you the level of integration. They were best friends. Obama and Diddy were best friends behind the scenes, way more than people even realize. Kamala Harris directly involved. That's one of the reasons why she was installed as a candidate, because of the amount of blackmail they have on her. And of course, it works out for her too, because then she's not going to go to prison if she's president. So it was a double whammy, trying to protect themselves, trying to stop this Diddy list. That's why they were so desperate to win the last election. However, that's not enough. Now, where it starts to get into the unfortunate territory is that a lot of people in the Trump administration seem to also be on the side of not prosecuting these people, seem to also be on the side of not caring enough to go after them. How is it that Pam Bondi hasn't opened up an investigation to every person that is even remotely associated with the Diddy list? How is it that Pam Bondi isn't right now looking at phone records, looking at records of who Diddy was calling? How are they not taking every single piece of evidence of this and making it one of the main focuses of the administration? That right there makes me very sad, because all of the girls, some of whom are no longer alive because their lives were taken from them. That's what I think people need to understand, is there are little kids who have had their lives taken from them in the Epstein client list, in the Diddy client list, people who were trafficked from other countries to people in the United States primarily, but also people in Europe, people in other first world countries. They no longer are alive because they take their life, so they cannot reveal the truth. That's how sick, disturbing, and twisted this situation really is. And so when we understand the gravity of it, when we understand the amount of bodies that have been buried, both literally and figuratively, and I feel so crass and I feel gross even talking about this, because like we're talking about little kids in some cases here, 10 years old, sometimes even younger. Primarily, though, in the age range of 9 to 11 was one of the sweet spots, especially for the Epstein client list. But as we look more into the Diddy case, it seems like it was the same thing. These are people at the top level of our society, people with money, people with power, people with influence, who are taking little kids from countries in South America and Africa, trafficking them. Some of their parents will actually literally let you buy their kids. If you give them enough money, they'll give you a kid. That's how that works. And then to silence them, they either keep them in captivity, some of them still in captivity right now, or they take their life and they don't care. That's how disgusting and evil these people are. And yet Pam Bondi isn't taking it nearly seriously enough. The Trump administration isn't taking it nearly seriously enough. And thank God they won, because if Kamala was in, it wouldn't even be a case. They would dismiss it. There would be nothing that would be happening right now. And if they did do anything, it would just be a slap on the wrist for Diddy. Well, it would probably be a slap on the butt for Diddy with baby oil. Not to get too graphic here, but that's the reality. It would be a slap. Pam Bondi would slap, or not Pam Bondi, but whoever Kamala Harris picked would slap Diddy on the butt one time, and then that would be his punishment. That's how it would have been handled. So thank God the Trump administration is there, but if they can't be way stronger than they are right now, then it almost doesn't even matter. It's almost the same thing. Diddy going to prison for life is a small fraction of the justice that we are demanding. As a bunch of comments come in, might have been before you were born, but Bondi's track record on Epstein and then the laptop should have been a tip-off as to what you would do as AG. You're absolutely right about that. That is not only true, it is overwhelmingly true. Because if you look at, and I do know some about Pam Bondi's history, so she, throughout her entire career, has been relatively weak as a public official, as a prosecutor. She has not gone after people she should have, but at the same time, she has at least been moral with what she does. We like Pam Bondi for the most part, but she's not a good AG unless she's willing to step up to the plate and go after these people. And so far, she hasn't shown that ability. She has been a good person, but a weak person, both at the same time. And that's why when you hire someone, I mean, obviously he was a DEI hire. No, it probably wasn't actually. She actually is qualified. But the point is, imagine that. Imagine like everyone I don't like is a DEI hire. Even white men are DEI hires if I don't like them somehow. We'll have to figure out a way to make that logically work. But everyone's a DEI hire. And also everyone in the comment section who says, actually looks like all positive comments. I appreciate all that. But anyone who says a negative comment, you're a DEI hire in the comment section. That's how it works. I don't make the rules. I just explain them. So as we continue, so the level of involvement from Hollywood and the celebrity class doesn't just stop at the celebrities. When we look through all of the producers that were involved, all of the people on the back end, people in the set who were taking advantage of these underage girls, people who are neighbors of Diddy that would come over and participate, some of which have literally explicitly said that many of the girls they saw were underage. That's knowledge that's publicly available. And by the way, Diddy isn't even being fully charged. He's not being charged with the underage stuff as much as he could be and should be. Most of his charges are just trafficking in general. It should be underage trafficking. It should be underage prostitution and involvement. That is a way harsher sentence, and that's what needs to be examined here. But the reason why they're not is because then what does that mean? Well, if that's true, then who else was participating? And if someone else was participating, they're going to have to go to prison for life as well. And they have a lot of money. They have political influence. They have connections, those people who are involved. They're producers. They're people who have lives that are outside of it. And of course, what are they going to do? They're going to do everything they can to silence this, to stop it from growing bigger. And if Diddy has to fall, so be it to them, but they don't want the rest to come out. And do you want to know how high the probability is right now that Diddy is not going to be able to still be alive by the end of the year? That probability is, unfortunately, for the case, extremely high. Not to say that Diddy is some person who deserves to have protection or to be, like, obviously he's an evil guy who's done a lot of evil stuff. But if he is taken out, then a lot of the proof and a lot of the evidence of who else was involved will be taken with him. How many of the cameras work in Diddy's prison cell? I know that prison very well because someone who I know, Jake Lang, January 6th political prisoner, he was there. And I called him while he was there multiple times. I'm familiar very much so with that prison system because of his description of it. And it is very lackluster. It is very loose. A lot of people in there have phones. They don't enforce the rules super well. You can actually see out the window and see parts of New York. So if someone wants to communicate via signal, they can use a laser, they can use a sign. There's lots of different ways you can communicate with someone on the inside on top of the phones. And so the ability for them to say, okay, I'm gonna call up one of the prisoners there. And I'm gonna say, okay, do a hit on Diddy. We need to take Diddy out, make sure the cameras aren't working. It's way easier than you may think. That is one of the easiest prisons to do it in. The other person who's of note, who's high profile, that is in that prison in the same block actually as Diddy, who has talked to him, interacted with him multiple times, is Sam Bankman-Fried. And if you don't think that Sam Bankman-Fried would be willing to potentially make a deal where he has a lighter sentence in exchange for helping to orchestrate Diddy being taken out, then think again. Sam Bankman-Fried has many ties to a lot of those people that are trying to silence this case. They're trying to stop it because they know if it comes out, they're going to be in prison for the rest of their lives. So what do you think is happening right now? Do you think they're reaching out to Sam Bankman-Fried on his secret phone that he snuck into prison that he's paying for? Of course they are. Do you think they right now are reaching out to multiple other inmates and saying, okay, if we need to, if Diddy speaks, here's the plan, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure the cameras don't work. Oh no, Diddy took his life. Diddy Epsteined himself. What's the probability of that? It is way higher than you may think. And Diddy does have children, unlike Epstein. And so those children are, in this situation, they're aware of that. And they're trying to fight to stop it. They're on his side, which does speak somewhat to Diddy, that there are people who are still on his side, even though they're his children. Obviously, they kind of have to be. But I mean, many people's children don't like them. So that does say something. And it does give me some hope. Because if Diddy's willing to take down everyone else, if Diddy's really willing to truly come out and say, who's on the list, prison time, long prison sentences, if that happens, I would be willing to go not easier on Diddy, slightly easier. Maybe he can be in a slightly less bad prison if he's willing to do that. And I hate to say that, he doesn't deserve it, but the reward on the other end of getting those high-profile people who deserve it even more than him by significant margins, who have done way worse crimes, if he can expose that, and he had access to it, he didn't stop it, he didn't report it, and that is evil. But we need the big kahuna. We can't just have it be Diddy only, or else all of this is almost for nothing. And that's the important point to drive home. Those criminals should name names, as they soon will be arrested because they will be taken out, and those who do will get off scot-free. You're absolutely right. I consider this a positive comment. He's advocating for it not to be prison time, for the life to be taken through the state, through the government, of any person who is convicted of that, is convicted of pedophilia. And I think that's a very, very, very strong. Now, the way I see it as a Christian is, I think it's God's job. I see it as God will judge in the end. And the harshest punishment that I feel comfortable with on earth is being in the worst prison possible for the rest of your life. I think that is worse in many cases than having your life taken from you. That is what I advocate for. But at the same time, there are many people who justifiably so believe it should be. Every person who's convicted of that has their life taken. And there's absolutely a case to be made for that. It just depends on your views of how that works and if a lifelong sentence in prison is worse potentially than that. And also, is it our job as humans to decide life or death? Obviously, we can decide to spend the rest of your life in prison, but can we as humans make the call? Is that fair? Is that just? Is that right for us to say we can decide what God should be the one decide? Now that's how I see it. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of debate there, but it's absolutely true. Do you think the judge should have given Rodney Hilton a bond? Yeah, I mean, this judge is liberal, obviously. Most of the Indians that come in, they don't agree with our culture. They don't agree with our system. Some of them do. Some of them are and I mean, look, obviously, I want the Indian food. I like that. So if you're coming here and you're going to make some incredible food, all right, we'll make an exception for you. But for the most part, we don't need a bunch of Indian immigrants because they don't agree with our culture. They aren't like us. And so if we have a bunch of them coming, our country will look more like India. And I don't really want our country to look more like India. I don't want our judges in the most important cases in our country to not even be from here. And he was actually born in Chicago, so he is from here. But his parents, the people who raised him, are not. And do you think he's more loyal to here or to India? Why don't you guess? Obviously, in most cases, it's India. That's who he's more loyal to. So I want people who are loyal here, who have a bloodline here, whose ancestors built this country. The most awesome people, in my opinion, to ever walk the planet are the people who founded this country. And so if you have a bloodline that goes back to that, that's awesome. And I want as many people as like that as possible. And there are also people, by the way, it's not exclusively racial, by the way. There are people who have a bloodline that go back to the founding of the country that aren't just white. And that's important to keep in mind too. The people who have the bloodline that goes back should be our primary focus. That's a whole nother tangent. That's not really related to Diddy. I know. I have to go off. I have to do my tangents. You know how it is. That's you have to have an ego big enough to want to go off on tangents, or else you might as well not even do a show. That's how it works. And you have to have the information as well. So I want to play this clip. So this is Pam Bondi speaking on the Epstein list. And I want you to pay very close attention to her body language. A lot of people, by the way, are tired of Pam Bondi. There's a post I saw that went viral, had 700,000 views, a lot of likes, asking, is anyone else tired of hearing Pam Bondi on Fox News? Because the way she talks is not at all correlated to the actions she takes. And so because of that, it is fake, whether she's a good person or not. And she is a good person. We like her, blah, blah, blah. But if she's not willing to step up to the plate and be strong as she should compared to the words that she's using, people are going to get annoyed, and rightfully so. Go ahead and play the clip.
No, the FBI, they're reviewing, there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't seen that statement, but I'll call him later and find out.
Wow. Don't worry, guys. The FBI is watching kiddie porn. That's what they're doing. Well, are they actually going to take that and prosecute the people who are holding it, who are making it? Or are they just watching it? Is that all they're doing? They're sitting on their butts watching it? What are we waiting for? So you're telling me they have access to tens of thousands of these documents, of these videos, and they have access to where they got that from, the sources of it, and they can go trace where those sources were distributed to, who was involved with it, and all of these are related to the Epstein case as well, and they're not arresting people, there aren't charges on the table. How are we supposed to look at that and feel anything other than anger? You know, I need to go to commercial break because I can't do this anymore. They have the power and they're not using it. Please, Paul, go to commercial break. We'll be back in a second.
Gabe! Dude, Gabe, something's in the dumpster.
Whoa, what is that for?
Something's in the dumpster, man.
Well, let's use the burner. We don't want to wake the neighbors. Freeze! Stop resisting!
If you're looking for a less than lethal option for self-defense or keeping pests out of your dumpster, then check out Byrna at DCF Guns. Visit us at our 3 locations in Castle Rock or Colorado Springs, or visit us online at dcfguns.com.
Come join the DCF family today, where we keep the range hot and the deals hotter. In every thread, in every stitch, Honor-Bound USA weaves the fabric of the American spirit. It's not just apparel, it's a testament to God, family, and country. At Honor-Bound USA, we're a family of patriots who put our faith, family, and America first. When you visit our website, you'll find a line of products that embody our commitment to pray, stand, speak, and act. As the official site for the Untamed podcast, all of our products proclaim speaking the truth with courage. We also have the powerful documentary from Professor David Clements, Let My People Go. Identify yourself as one of the few who are willing to stand for what they believe in. Join the Honor-Bound USA family today. Wear it as a badge of honor, commitment to the values that shape us, and a pledge to the bright future we will build together. Because when you're honor-bound, you're not just wearing a brand, you're embodying a lifestyle.
You know, the reason why this show is so important is because there aren't enough people who are willing to call out the Trump administration from a place of love and say they need to do better. There aren't enough. There are some. And we'll be very appreciative of anyone else who joins in, but we need that desperately right now. And for everyone in the comment section, we can see how much public support this is. This is one of the biggest shows that we've ever done. 2,000 people watching on Rumble alone right now. Plus, we are on Apple, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all over the place on X. This is going to be one of the biggest shows because it's important, and everyone is here for one reason. We want to see justice. That is why you're here. That is why I'm here. That is why this show is putting up the numbers that it is, and it absolutely deserves to. Now, for someone who just asked where am I from, I'm initially from Atlanta, Georgia. That's where I was born and raised. My bloodline on both sides, my parents are both from here. Their parents are all from here. I am Christian and American from the very beginning, 100%, since the founding of the country. One of my ancestors actually jumped off a boat from the British Navy and swam ashore and then married a woman within the first, you can search that up, by the way, if you want to see a story, but married a woman who was here within the first year of him swimming ashore, and then started one of the lines of my family all the way back before the country was even founded. My family's played a nice role in this country. So I'm very, very, very proud of that. You know, I'll probably mention it every once in a while just because of how proud I am of it. But as someone who is fully American, I have a fight in me. And a lot of people here are as well. There's the amount of Americans who are in the media, unfortunately, full Americans, is very small. And because it has been infiltrated by foreign forces. But we as Americans, and those of us who truly believe in the culture, who aren't American, but who have joined our culture and who want to be part of it and who have the American spirit, we need to all join together and fight. That is what we do best. That is what we have done since 1776. That was fun to say. And that's what we will continue to do. This is one of the best shows on the internet for a reason, because we care. Joel Altman's not here today. He's currently traveling for business, but I do the show with him, and I do it with him because we share the same values. We want to see these people get destroyed. We want to see the truth prevail and justice to come out. That's why we do the show. That's why we're so successful. We're growing so fast, the fastest growing show every single day at 4 p.m. Eastern time. You can come watch the show. Join with us in this fight. We need your support. We can't do it alone. That's why we want to become the #1 show on Rumble, and we have that ability. We have an incredible team back there. We have so many people who are working to make this go. So I need you to share with someone who wants to see the show. Maybe someone's watching Russell Brand or someone else. This show is better. That's also fun to say. It's fun. It's fun to brag about the show. This show is really good for a reason. We put so much time into it. You don't even no idea how much work goes in behind the scenes. This set, a lot of money went into it, by the way, which I forced Joe to do. He's been doing the show for a while, so we just joined together. We're joining our shows together, and I think it's a perfect match. Joe is an awesome man. He's extremely intelligent, extremely smart, has a good heart. And so is everyone else on the team. And that's why this will be the #1 show. I really believe that. And so please share it and be part of it as a result. And I want to get into this Pam Bondi clip a little bit further, because you hear her say the numbers in the clip. So I'm going to play this Pam Bondi clip one more time. And when I do, listen closely to the numbers, to what she says. And then I'm going to tell you my very harsh response to it, as is deserved.
No, the FBI, they're reviewing, there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just
hundreds
the
of what?
volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't seen that statement, but I'll call him later and find out.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Pam Bondi? There's how many victims? Hundreds of victims, Pam Bondi? Is that what you just said that on camera? There are hundreds of victims, and how many arrests based on those hundreds of victims? Who are they victimized by? Ghosts? They're victimized by people that don't exist? What are you saying, Pam Bondi? How are there hundreds of victims, and there's no one who's arrested? They were all victimized by one person? Is that what you're telling me? You're telling me there wasn't an Epstein Island where all of them came to victimize those children? These are children, and those are just the children. Hundreds of children, she said. Not even talking about the adults who are also trafficked and abused. Many adults as well trafficked and abused, especially between the ages of 20 and 30. How can we watch her say that, knowing there's no arrests that have been made? Besides Ghislaine Maxwell, okay, there's one. What about all the people who victimized these kids? You think Epstein did it to all of them? Of course not. He had everyone else in on it. What about the Diddy case? What about all of those victims? She just said, her own words, 100 victims. And yet here we are without a single one of the victimizers, the ones who are doing the actual crimes, getting caught. Oh, no victim's name is going to be released. Okay, that's good. What about the names of the victimizers? I swear I'm going crazy. How is this possible? How are we watching a woman come on TV and tell us in clear terms there's thousands of videos of these victims, hundreds of victims they were taken advantage of, trafficked involving the Epstein case? My God, I can't do this anymore. I'm about to walk off the set. I'm about to take off my headphones, throw this microphone, and walk off the set because I can't stand this. My gosh. How is this even possible? It's just, it's so unbelievably frustrating. And this is why people criticize Pam Bondi. Not because we hate her, not because she's a bad person, but because she's not doing what she needs to do. She's lazy. She's not coming and holding these people accountable. Where's Kash Patel? The FBI is reviewing it. Okay, Kash Patel's in charge of the FBI. Why isn't he then coming on and saying more about this? Where's Kash Patel in all of this? What is he doing? What is his involvement? I think we actually have a clip, by the way, of Kash Patel. We have a clip of Kash Patel, right, Apollo? Well, what's the Kash Patel clip? I believe there's one. Yeah. Okay, well, why don't I just go ahead and play? This is what Kash Patel's up to. Go ahead and play the Kash Patel clip.
I also want to just take a moment to emphasize the priority of this Department of Justice and this FBI. Our children. If you harm our children, you will be given no sanctuary. There is no place we will not come to hunt you down. There is no place we will not look for you. And there is no cage we will not put you in should you do harm to our children. The prioritization of this administration and General Bondi has made it abundantly clear to child predators, you will be hunted down and you will be prosecuted. And that is a refreshing thing to hear for the men and women who do this work tirelessly. And it's also an acknowledgement of the safety that we look forward to bringing America.
Kash, where are the cages? You said you'll put, there's no cage you won't put them in. Where are the cages? Where are the arrests? He's talking like, oh, if you hurt our children, we're going to come after you. Who have you gone after? Okay, you say that. Have you gone after a single person? Who have you put in prison that's involved in the Epstein or Diddy case? A single person? You have all of the evidence. Pam Bondi says there's 1,000 or more of the videos, and there's hundreds of victims, and there's Kash Patel. If you hurt our children, we're coming after you. There's no cage. There's nowhere we won't find you. Oh, okay. What about in plain sight? What about we have the list? We know who the people are. We already found them. Here you go, Kash. There's nowhere you would. Okay, you're gonna go find them in a dark hole somewhere, but you won't even find them when the list is literally public. We've just put it out there. There's the list. We have the list, and you won't. Like, it's just is this a joke? Are we in clown world? What is going on here? How is it that we're listening to these people tell us we're going to stand up and we're going to protect you and we're on your side? And then when it's actually time for them to really, truly be on our side and hold these people accountable, then what happens? Nothing. The way I said that was nothing. Like, I feel like we need to make that a catch. The new catchphrase of the show is nothing, because nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens. And, it's brutal. It is brutal. Kamala Harris, where's the investigation against her? They prosecuted Trump. They made him spend hundreds of millions of dollars during a campaign. They put fake charges against him that obviously were not real. And then if he talks about them, then he gets $80 million in fines related to them. And yet the people who did real crimes, they're not even going after them. Where's Trump's fight? Where's the vengeance? Because it's not just vengeance on political terms. It's vengeance because these people did crimes that deserve to be punished. That's what they need. Kamala Harris is walking around with 25 bodyguards and Secret Service agents instead of walking around in a prison cell where she should be. That's where she belongs because she's involved in the Diddy case. How many women did she take advantage of? Is she even straight? We don't know that. We don't know the details because they won't release them. We know she has a rocky relationship with her husband. We know he cheated on her with many different women, including the nanny. So who is she cheating on him with? Probably some people. I'm sure. It's obviously an open relationship of some kind. Who else is involved? What was her role? Was Doug Emhoff, Kamala Harris's husband, involved in the Diddy case? So far, his name hasn't come up. I'll be willing to bet a lot of money that if we dig far enough, we're going to find his name on there. He's connected to Hollywood, one of the biggest producers in Hollywood. Big Hollywood guy, a lot of Hollywood connections. You think he wasn't involved? You think her husband isn't part of this whole thing and he's being protected? Of course he is. Of course. This show, I don't know if I've been more angry to do a show than this show. This show is making me so angry because I'm sitting here on this stupid chair watching these people who are getting paid with our tax dollars lots of money and doing book deals and getting sponsorships and getting speeches that they get overpaid for in order to have an ear to the president. They're getting paid all this money and they're doing nothing. What has Kash Patel done? Did he close down the FBI building like he said he would? Is he even trying to? He's going to the club, whereas his girlfriend is performing at the club. Okay, that's great. Congratulations, Kash. You can go to the club, you can go to UFC fights, but where's the work? Where's the stuff we're waiting for? Paul, I need you to go. We need to go to another commercial break. Give me a commercial break, just to throw it up there. Right? By the way, the commercials are good stuff. I mean, one of the ways you can help support the show is to watch those commercials and participate in the things that are shown in them. So go ahead and play that.
Gabe! Dude, Gabe, something's in the dumpster.
Whoa, what is that for?
Something's in the dumpster, man.
Well, let's use the burner. We don't want to wake the neighbors. Freeze! Stop resisting!
Stop resisting!
If you're looking for a less than lethal option for self-defense or keeping pests out of your dumpster, then check out Byrna at DCF Guns. Visit us at our 3 locations in Castle Rock or Colorado Springs, or visit us online at dcfguns.com.
Come join the DCF family today, where we keep the range hot and the deals hotter. In every thread, in every stitch, Honor-Bound USA weaves the fabric of the American spirit. It's not just apparel, it's a testament to God, family, and country. At Honor-Bound USA, we're a family of patriots who put our faith, family, and America first. When you visit our website, you'll find a line of products that embody our commitment to pray, stand, speak, and act. As the official site for the Untamed podcast, all of our products proclaim speaking the truth with courage we also have the powerful documentary from Professor David Clements, Let My People Go. Identify yourself as one of the few who are willing to stand for what they believe in. Join the Honor-Bound USA family today. Wear it as a badge of honor, commitment to the values that shape us, and a pledge to the bright future we will build together. Because when you're honor-bound, you're not just wearing a brand, you're embodying a lifestyle.
There's no way to confirm this, but I want you to take a look at this clip. And we turned the audio off because it's super graphic, but you can see the words on it. Take a look at this clip. Apollo, put it up next to me if you can. This clip right there shows someone who was allegedly involved directly with Diddy, who was used as a, quote, slave, his words, not mine. And he is there at a deposition explaining all the things that happened to him. And here's where it gets crazy. Okay, maybe he's a crazy dude, maybe he's lying, but how do you explain this then? We now have a report that just came out that says $5 million. An NDA with Diddy. This guy right here on the screen. $5 million NDA was signed with him and Diddy, so Diddy paid him $5 million to shut up and not reveal anything. Why would Diddy pay him $5 million, allegedly? I don't have full confirmation of that. It literally is just now breaking news. So we're going to have our team look into it and double check that it is in fact true. But if it is true, which it appears to be, why do you pay $5 million unless he actually has seen stuff that he can then come forward with and expose the truth? And here's some names that he mentioned, by the way: DJ Khaled, Rick Ross, and Diddy. All three of them were three of the most prominent names that he mentions in this. And you can see the wording there. Again, we turn off the audio because it's too graphic. It'll get us in trouble. But you can hear, or you can see rather, what he says. So pay attention to those words that go across the screen, because he's literally explaining in detail how Diddy treated people. It wasn't just girls, it wasn't just men, it was men, girls, boys, everyone. No one was free from this. Why do you think Diddy had 1,000 bottles of baby oil? You think he was using that for normal, traditional stuff? Of course not. That was for the guys. That was for the men. That's why he did that. It was for the boys. It was for the men. As disgusting and awful as that is to say, that's why he had 1,000 bottles of baby oil. That's what that was used for. He took advantage as a bisexual man, who all of the rappers pretty much are either gay or bisexual, because that's how they get into that position, is they have the blackmail on them, sleeping with a man, and then boom, here we have this tape. That is why we fight. That is why we work as hard as we do for the truth to come out. That man right there, who, by the way, has a very shady history himself, and we're not saying he's a good person. Obviously, he's closer to the devil than most people walking the planet are. And he most likely was a participant in a willing fashion to some degree based on his history. He did videos with other men for the internet. That's what he did. But he was a willing participant at first, and then what happens? Then they get you involved in the circle. Then they start doing things that are forced. Then you have to do it. Then you don't even make any money from it. But if you don't do it, then they expose you and go after you, or they take your life. That's how this works. He's in too deep now. No pun intended. That would be a disgusting pun if it was intended. But he is. That's how we have to treat this, because who else has an NDA that was signed? All of that needs to come out. We need to know every single person that signed an NDA for some amount of money. And if Pam Bondi was actually worth her weight in salt as a prosecutor, as a DA, then she should be offering to have these NDAs nulled. Maybe we can pay more. Here you go. Here's the $5 million you got from Diddy. Now tell all the truth. It doesn't even have to be that much. I don't want this guy to get $5 million. But some people may deserve $5 million. Some of the actual victims, some of the victims who have no willing participation to any degree whatsoever, allegedly, those are the people who got paid, and they have a story to tell. So we need to look at all of those transactions, and we need to go, in hindsight, we go look back and offer them money to break the NDA. That's how a prosecution should be, because you can't just literally commit crimes and take advantage of people, then pay them money and everything's okay. Because those stories also are going to be able to reveal some of the celebrities. Was DJ Khaled involved in a large way or a small way? Well, this guy says he was involved in a large way. So all of it needs to come up. Degeneracy leads to the destruction of every great civilization in history that has normalized it. That's one of the most true things you can say. Look at Rome. Look at all these empires, Sodom and Gomorrah. This is the state of our country right now. We are in a state of total disarray where the moral compass has tipped so far south, meaning away from God, that it's almost not even recognizable to the country that was founded, a country that was on Christian principles, a country of Protestants, a country of men and women who loved God and made God the center of their lives as they worked to build a good life for each other. That is the root of our country. That's what made us the #1 country on earth. That's what spurred the innovation. That's what allowed us to have a good government and good laws, because we cared and we love each other and we wanted that. And now our country is becoming Mexico, India, Africa. And it's not that we hate, I have to say this every single show multiple times, because it makes, this is the most frustrating thing to me. It's not that we hate those people or we want them to have bad lives. So we want to help them. But if they come here, then we're not us anymore. And I want to be us. It's that simple. It's not complicated. So there it is. I mean, that's the truth. Has the full list been released? Not only has it been released, but we're now having cross references to it. So if you want to put up the list again on the screen. So this list right here, we now have proof. We have confirmation of multiple names on the list. Primarily, obviously, Diddy is the centerpiece of it, and in this specific case, Epstein's the centerpiece of the other case. But we have Michelle Williams, who's a famous singer. We have people, even Kanye West, Kid Cudi. All these people are now being cross-referenced, confirmed through the jury selection. So we not only actually have a list now of people to start investigating who are believed to be fully in cahoots with Diddy, and possibly Epstein too in many of these cases, because if you look through that list, you can see some of the names directly correlate. Now we have confirmation. Now is the time when the public finally has enough information to pressure for the truth to be pursued. And the reason why the government is scared is because people in the government, many of whom participated in the Epstein client list, participated in the Diddy list. That's why they can't release it, because the Congress people say, okay, well, I participated in that. Hey, Pam, you can't release this. There's too many people who are my friends who are on it. That's how this works. It's backroom deals. The government has gotten so corrupt and so big at this point that if Trump wants to be able to pass any legislation, he has to keep some of the people who are literally on these lists happy. And so he can't release it. He has to keep the donors happy who are friends with the people who are on this list. And they see it as, oh, I just made a mistake when I literally abused children, took advantage of them. Oh, it was a mistake. It was in my past. I'm never going to do it again. That's the level of depravity these people have. They think, oh, I'm a good person now. No, you're not. You did that. That's what happened. And so, yes, the Diddy list, as disturbing as it is to go through it, has in fact now been released in a way that is able to cross-reference to who they are telling in the jury selection. How the jury selection works is they read these names off the list. And so we have now proof of that, because some of them are able to come forward with it publicly. They don't say their names because technically that would be illegal, but they reach out to media people and say, hey, here are the names I was asked about. So then we can cross-reference that and know for a fact who was really on the Diddy list, who of those people have the closest ties to Diddy. But all of them are on it for a reason, because we know they have been participating. That's the important thing to keep in mind. And so we have everything public. Kash Patel is saying, oh, go find them in the deepest, darkest hole. But he won't even find them when the information is literally publicly available, when everyone can see it. When this case is about to bring so many things to light. And I can tell you right now, there are a lot of people who are very terrified of this case. And what's the way to stop it? The way to stop this case from happening is to take out Diddy. So that's why Diddy right now is probably in a more dangerous, precarious position than we've seen any prisoner in the United States currently being in. He right now is probably going to be Epstein. That is a high probability to happen. And I don't want it to. I don't want it to happen at all. Because if that happens, then all of the people who are the most evil, all the people who we hate, the people who are currently destroying our systems, will benefit the most from it. It's that simple. There's nothing complicated here. And by the way, put up the picture of the drugs, because this is directly tied to it. So we're not only seeing trafficking that's happening, but we covered the story yesterday. There are a huge amount of drugs that have been entering the country. This was confiscated by Pam Bondi, by Justice Department, by one of their operations. This is an operation that they've always done. They pretended like it was some new thing by changing the name. But still, look at that. That is enough to kill every single child in the United States. I know that doesn't seem logical, that doesn't seem real, but that right there, those pictures, what you can see in them, is enough to kill every single child in the United States. It only takes the amount about the size of a grain of rice, a little bit less than that actually, in order to take someone's life if they're unexposed to the substance and if it goes directly and attacks their nervous system. That's what can happen. And I don't know, I'm certainly not an expert on this, but I can tell you one thing. At the Diddy parties, drugs like that were used. And that's one of the ways that they would take victims' lives after in order to stop them from being able to talk. Here's the drugs. They know it's going to take your life, and then boom. And look at that. All the guns, all of it's sitting on the car. There's a bunch of stacks of cash. This is supposedly a record-sized bust worth millions and millions of dollars. All this stuff together. What are those guns going to be used for? They're going to be used in trafficking operations. That's where the drugs are going. They're going to the top levels for the most part. They're going to all the people who you see homeless on the streets. So if you give them $5-10, they go and take that and then buy a small little portion of drugs that then they use on the streets. Our system sucks. Our society is ruined. Children aren't even protected or safe. They have access to all of this. They're getting trafficked, especially children who don't have a strong family to lean on, children who find themselves in vulnerable positions and feel like they have to go and make money by participating in that. That's where we are. And the only way it will ever get better is as a brotherhood if we are calling it out, because who else is doing this? Who else is willing to do an entire show where we expose the truth about every little detail of this? And that's why as this show continues to grow in viewers, this is one of the biggest shows we've ever done. We need that share button to be pressed. You know there's someone out there who wants to join the brotherhood, who wants to be a part of this. Send them the link. Tell them you need to come watch the show. Whatever show you're watching is not as good. There's not as much research that goes into it. It's not really, truly purposeful. They don't care. Come watch the show that cares. Come watch the show where I will literally risk my life to protect every single kid that I'm talking about that's been victimized in this show. Come watch the show where we are willing to say the truth about Pam Bondi. I don't care if I get invited to the White House. By the way, I've gotten more views, and I said this on multiple episodes in the past. I've gotten more views on the Epstein and possibly, I think in the Diddy one, I'm in the top. I'm toward the top. But in the Epstein case, I've gotten more views on the internet than anyone else. By far. It's not even close. And yet when they do the fake Epstein documents, who doesn't get invited? Matt Wallace doesn't get invited. You want to know why that is? Because I'm not afraid to say the truth. If they had invited me, you want to know what I would have done? I would have made a video at the White House and I would have said, hey guys, look, here I am, Matt Wallace at the White House. You see this? You see this right here? This is fake. I just looked through it. They're trying to trick you. I don't care. I would go there and say it to Pam Bondi's face. I would tell her, what are you waiting for, Pam Bondi? There are children being trafficked. I would tell her to her face and I would film it and I would post it. I don't care. I don't even care if I make money from it. I don't care if I lose money from it. I don't care if I lose sponsorships from it. That's what I would do if they invited me. And so that's why they're never going to invite me. Not to talk about the Diddy case, not to talk about anything involving Epstein. I'm never going to be allowed to go to the White House. And if they somehow are able to grow the balls to do that, to invite me, then they better have something that's worthwhile. They better have something to give us that is worth going there, or else all I will be doing while I am there is criticizing and calling them out and trying to bring more attention to it. That's all I'll do. Maybe, just maybe, Pam Bondi will decide, okay, why don't we actually go after these people? Okay, Matt Wallace, come to the White House. Why don't you help? Why don't we go after these people? Why don't we make it public? I'm not putting a lot of confidence on that, but maybe, just maybe, will happen. I'm still going to give her a chance. I like her. I like Cash. They're good people. They're smart. They're capable of really taking this by the horns and doing a lot with it. And yet, over and over again, every day, we have to watch. Here we go again, another day where no one's arrested. With hundreds of victims, no one's arrested. It's very frustrating, and I think the more it goes along, the more frustrating it gets. You give them a month, you give them a little bit of time, and at some point, though, we just have to say, okay, it hasn't been done, so either you do it, or we're going to have to find a way around the system to do it ourselves. We're going to have to create a new shadow government of sorts, which sounds fun, creating a shadow government. I like that idea. Does everyone want to just create a shadow government? Why don't we just do that? Why don't we can create our own shadow government and then we can go after these people? Does that sound like everyone is in? Say aye. If only it was that easy. If only we could just say, let's go arrest them ourselves. We can't because it's against law, and then we'll go to prison for trying to do the right thing because that's how our system is set up. But wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be good? Now, here's the other thing. So Operation Restore Justice is what they're calling this. It's a new name for the same thing. They've been doing this already. They did it under Biden, but they are stepping it up, which is good. So among those captured were part of a satanic terror group. So I think that's one thing. So when they did this big bust, some of the people who were in it were literal Satanists, people who are facilitating behind the scenes what happens at the Diddy and Epstein parties. It's all tied together. So that's a good first step. If you take away the ability for there to be drugs in the hands of children, then you take away a huge factor of this entire operation. That takes away their ability to take them out of a mental state where they can defend themselves. Children already can't defend themselves. Now imagine children who are also on drugs. Then they're totally defenseless. And they're taken advantage of at a higher level than anything else. And so that's the most disgusting thing. And I think as we start, so by the way, it's called 764 Network. That's what it's called. That's the name of the group. They specifically target minors online, coercing them into violent acts and inappropriate acts. That's their entire purpose. And they were allowed to operate almost indiscriminately under the Biden administration. Now, finally, a lot of them are being arrested. They won't give us the number. But what about Hillary Clinton? What about John Podesta? What about the people who we know deleted the files because of their ties to that network? What about those people? And right now, it doesn't seem like anything's going to happen with them. So that's where we start to get into it. Now, what is the FBI actually doing to fix the system? We have, by the way, if you want to put up the tweet from Kyle Seraphin, this is an interesting tweet because this goes over the true state of where we are right now. Go ahead and put up that tweet, and everyone pay close attention to Kyle's words here because he's telling the truth. What he says is out there for a reason. He knows, and I think Paul's putting it up right now, but there it is. Operation Cross Country is what the FBI does every year, calling it Restore Justice, is claiming credit for what the FBI already did. What are you doing to fix the system? ? So that was his direct response. You can see Cross Country 2022 recovers trafficking victims. National sweep targeted. So there's one of the posts from August 15th, 2022, before Trump came back into office. And there's other articles attached. So we know, like, this, I think this is an important thing to cover, because what else, if Pam Bondi and Kash Patel are willing to pretend like they have a new operation, what else are they willing to pretend like? Oh, I don't know, they have Epstein files that are actually going to release. FBI rescues more than 200 trafficking victims, including 84 children in Operation Cross Country. New name, same operation, hasn't even barely been stepped up. You're not devoting more resources to it. You're not devoting more resources to closing the border and making sure no one can bring drugs in. And yet, here we are having them try to claim credit, just like they're trying to claim credit for the FBI going after the Epstein client list and the Diddy client list and the hundreds of victims when there's no arrests. Where do we draw the line? How much more do we have to ask for? What do we have to do? Do I have to drive to Washington, D.C. or fly to Washington, D.C. and say, hey, Pam, hey, it's me, it's Matt Wallace. Remember the guy you didn't invite to the White House because I wasn't submissive enough? I wasn't willing to just say whatever you wanted me to say. Hey, yeah, it's me. I'm the guy who's gotten more views on Epstein on the internet than anyone else. Why don't we talk about this? Why don't we go do something? Hey, Pam, I'm right here. Pam, why don't we go after these people? She doesn't care. She doesn't care. And that's what pisses me off. That's what's frustrating. It wouldn't do anything. It doesn't matter. They don't care about the people who are actually trying to fight for justice. They don't care about Joel Altman. They don't care about Matt Wallace. They don't want to try to work with people who are getting eyeballs on this case to try to bring justice. They just want to claim they're doing stuff, continue getting their paychecks, continue going to the club where Kash Patel's girlfriend is performing. I don't know what kind of performance it was. Supposedly he was singing. It wasn't anything inappropriate, I guess. I don't know. It may have been. We don't know. But still, why are you doing that? Why is your girlfriend performing at a gentleman's club? Is that what it was? What kind of club was it? We don't even know. We don't know the details on it, but we know that happened. We know they're at the UFC fights. We know all this stuff is going on while the real victims and the real people who are taking advantage of children, nothing happens to them. It's really sad. And so here's something. I can't talk about. I mean, I'm going to keep talking about it, but I can't deal with this. It's so frustrating. So why don't we put up a clip that's a little bit less serious, a little bit of someone we can make fun of. If you want to play the clip from the man who converted to Islam and then converted to being a woman as well. Why don't we play that clip? And then that'll be the last thing I do. This show is basically done. I don't. Tomorrow I'll have enough energy to go after these people again. I'm out of energy. My tank's empty. I'm done. I can't anymore. But go ahead and play the clip.
Salam, everyone. I just gotta ask, who's cosplaying? See, cosplaying is when you dress up as something that you aren't or someone you aren't. I am a Muslim woman. I wear what a Muslim woman wears. I dress like that. So, who's cosplaying here? I think you need to learn the words that you're trying to use because they ain't working for you.
There it is. That's so Pam Bondi is an attorney general who's going after everyone. Kash Patel is a great FBI director who's holding the criminals accountable, and that is a Muslim woman. All three of those things are absolutely true. That's the newest Muslim woman for you right there. And if you question if that's actually a Muslim woman, then you are a racist, bigot, homophobic, Islamophobic person. I ran out of adjectives. I was going to do one more, but I ran out, so I had to throw person on in there. So there we go. Now you know. Now you know, all of you racists out there who don't believe that's really a Muslim woman. You should come to reality. Obviously, that's a Muslim woman. Everyone can tell. Clearly, that's a Muslim woman. Everyone can see it. So there we go. I'm gonna end the show on that. I think I'll refuel. I'm gonna go refuel. I'm gonna hit Twitter hard, and we're gonna go after these people. I need to refuel for at least like an hour or something. I need to just not think about this. Go listen to music. Take a walk. Call my family, spend time with my wife, talk to my kids. I'll do that. And then once I have more fuel, then I'll keep going. I'm out of fuel right now. I'm at 0. So make sure you go check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're all over the place. We're everywhere. You can watch on X. You can watch here on Rumble, which is the primary place. We're partnering with Rumble, by the way, most likely in order to make this show one of the biggest shows on Rumble, as it deserves to be, in my opinion, because of the amount of work, because of the team. I'm only a part of the show. I'm only a small part of it. The team we have, the people we have working on this are the reason why this goes, are the reason why this is going to be, I think, one of the best and biggest shows to ever hit. And it's already growing really fast. We already have a lot of viewers. So make sure every single day, 4 p.m. Eastern time, every weekday, not on the weekends, because I need time to with my family. On the weekends, I'm going to go do fun stuff with them. So is Joe. But on the weekdays at 4 p.m. Eastern time, come and watch here. Join live. We've been very good recently about being on time. So if you come wait at 4 p.m. Eastern time, you got to wait a couple minutes sometimes. But we're going to be there, and we're going to have an incredible, well-put-together show where you have all the information you need and you have the truth. And we're not afraid to get angry when we need to and to call out these people. So there we go. If you want to see more today, which I think all of us need to participate in this, you can go on X. Joe Altman and I are both going to be continuing to cover this there. And if you haven't subscribed yet, if you haven't joined the Rumble, click the notifications. That's important. So that way, when we do go live at 4 p.m. Eastern time, you're going to be able to see it. That's all for today. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your day. I hope Pam Bondi decides to stop being weak. Same with Kash Patel, and to actually live up to their potential, which they are capable of. And that all of these criminals, all these people on the Diddy list, which we now have confirmation of, all of them go and spend the rest of their lives in prison, as is deserved. I'll see you later.